going. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. P Diddy denied bail so all of y'all could give you a round of applause that wanted to keep another man behind bars. You got what you wish. Round of applause to you. Round of applause to you. All right, relax, y'all, relax. But it's a sad day when we sit here and wish the downfall on a man that just beat the biggest charge in the United States, because that's what the RICO is considered as. The RICO is equivalent to an M charge. It's equivalent to an unaliving charge. RICO is the biggest charge you could get, and that's what it is, and that's all it is. So I just want you to understand that, right? Right now, Diddy is in jail, fighting for his freedom, was trying to get bail to go home and keep whatever he got left of his $1 billion in order and just do what he has to do. But it's so hard when you got people just attacking you and you can't even stay focused. You remember at the beginning of this process when they was hitting him with the lawsuits and the lawsuits and the lawsuits. And as they kept hitting him with the lawsuits, it was like, where you going with this? But let's go. You know what it is. Unique Mecca Audio. We're here. We're going to talk about what it was like at the Diddy trial right after the verdict was read. Let's hear what the newscasters and the professionals got to say. A man that spent 26 years in prison, he don't know what he's talking about. But if you notice everything I said, how this was going to play out with them RICOs and those predicates, that's why that's one of the most serious charges in the United States, period. They have 5 charges within that one charge. Those 5 charges are elements, period. Remember that. All right.
In on what it sounded like outside the courthouse when Sean Diddy Combs' mother emerged after the verdict was rendered. We saw her blowing kisses to people and other people cheering them on. Now, not only has she been coming to court, as Lisa had just said, but his family, his sons have been coming. A short time separate from that, we saw out of the back entrance of this federal courthouse, the federal, the jurors. Hey, you know what? Tell me what it is that's going on right now, guys. Who's yelling at me? All right, well, this is breaking news right now. Let's come back on camera for this, and let's bring in Lisa Evers here. We're learning right now, Lisa, that apparently bond has been denied.
Okay, that's
well, I don't know if that's getting it. Let's use this one.
Let's get Jeremy here.
Yeah, Jeremy, can you come back in here when you get a moment?
Come on, Jeremy. Y'all get it together now. Y'all looking like Unique Mecca Audio or YouTube channel.
An argument that because the jury found Sean Diddy Combs guilty only on the lesser of the charges, that
hold on. Look how confused he is, and he's talking. That's what I'm saying. They just get anybody to talk. No disrespect, but I mean, I'm going to break down what he's trying to say and explain to you so you could understand. And you let me know if you don't think YouTube get ready to take over these so-called major podcasters that got the bag behind them, but we ain't got the bag. We starting independently, the same as back in the days. We started independently with the records that now that you got these dudes with millions of dollars because we started from selling our CDs and tapes out the trunk. Don't forget those days, all right? Now, that's what we're doing right now, equivalent to YouTube, because we riding. Welcome to the Unique Ride. Now, check it out. So now you got them, got the bag behind them. They stumbling, they're and and don't even know nothing about the CCE. And you got a man that sat here 26 years fighting the CCE, made to the Supreme Court, went to the appeals court, fought it all the way, and then made it back to society, and now giving back to society. Instead of them contacting me, they get a dude up here because they said, oh, he's a professional. What makes him a professional? Is he a professional what? You know what I mean? All right, let's go. Let's keep it moving.
that he might be able to go home. The judge even asked him at one point, I imagine you don't want to go back to MDC. He nodded vigorously. Right? Let's use this microphone. I'm not sure if that won't.
So in other words, the judge was teasing him. The judge already know he gonna deny him bail. He gonna say, you don't want to go back to MDC, do you? And he like, nah, boss, I definitely ain't trying to go, boss. You know, and the judge said, yeah, all right, I got something for you. Well, thank you for being honest. And then the judge came back and said, let me be honest. Your black ass ain't going nowhere. You're sitting in there until October 3rd when I decide my sentencing. Yeah, and you already thanked me at the end of the trial that I did a wonderful job, so any appeal you try and file against me, I will use that against you, that you were satisfied at the time of the trial, before the verdict. Once the verdict was read and it wasn't read in your favor, now you take animosity towards the judge and bring it up into our appeals court saying that the judge did something wrong when you yourself thanked them. Who the told him to thank the judge for doing a wonderful job? No disrespect. Yeah, I'm just talking from a street perspective, right? Screw it. That's one of the ups. They all go play golf together. They do everything they got to do together, and they chill. That's why the Honorable Donald Trump is there now to point out these things that they kept under the rug and kept secret to make it look like it was a special boys club while they throwing us away a mile a minute. But there's a little light, there's hope. Now, Donald Trump released me, Lou Sims, Prince, Akbar. That's just East Coast. We still got Booby from the Booby Boys getting ready to come. Come on. We still, praying for free Preem, everything. Donald Trump released Larry Hoover. Who would have thought a president would ever release Larry Hoover? Just think about that. Let me just keep this moving, man. Let's get back to Lisa Evers because they the professionals. I'm nobody. What do I know?
Works. And Jeremy, if you'll come in here
Jeremy.
too. Should we start with Jeremy's?
Let's get Jeremy.
Sallin is with us. He's a criminal defense attorney and former Manhattan prosecutor. And the bail, the news is that bail has been denied.
Yeah, that the judge.
So there is the law, the statute says in substance that bail would be denied, meaning that he goes and stays in. There's not an exception. For example, there could be an exception where the prosecution says we consent, and there's other pieces to it as well. There could be a danger to somebody or not, but the bail being kept as it is not necessarily atypical because of the law, though one would believe the fact that he was not convicted of the top charge, and it's been a reduction, and people do walk free and come back and RR.
Well, keeping the bail as it is means there's no bail.
Right. So he's remanded.
All right, so let's stop, right? Let's stop, because I like to ride. And I definitely like my gunshots. And I can't stand my rat bastards. Flip-flop wearing in public trolls. But anyway, we want them out of here. Now, let's get back to where we at, right? Check it out. They sitting here saying all that. They entertained, let's just do the math. I'm just doing the street math. This is from my perspective. I don't know anything, right? I'm just old dumb trigger off the streets of Harlem. Now, they denied a bail that he offered for $48 million to put up a mansion, right, on Star Island. He put that up. They denied it because they said the charges were so vicious, so horrendous. There was minors, there was free calls, there was all types of stuff. You know what I mean? There was everything under the sun, right? So now they denied the bail for that because he had all those charges against him. But then he beat those charges and just get the lesser of the lesser of the lesser. Those charges only carry 10 years maximum apiece. Now, being a first-time offender or a two-time offender, even a three-time offender, when a judge sentences you to two of the same charges under the same statute, they run them what they call concurrently. That means they run them together. That means when you do one sentence, the other sentence is piggybacking off it, and then they have what they call bow-legged. Pause, right? Now, they got bow-legged, right? When they run it bow-legged, that's called, in legal terms, consecutive. That means you have to serve 10 years, and then when you're done with that 10 years, then you serve the other 10 years. And we riding, right? Let's take a ride. We're going to take a nice ride with Larry Hoover right now. Same thing going down with Larry Hoover right now as we speak. Larry Hoover was serving life in the feds, and then he was serving 200 years, 199 years, you rat bastard. Put in the comments, or you loyal supporters that know how to move. Now, right, check it out. So Larry just gets freed from his federal life sentence, and now he's supposed to go back and begin doing the 199-year sentence, or they'll say, no, you know what? We'll give you credit for the time you spent in the feds, but you still got another 150 years to go. And you're what, 70-something years old? You see how this is playing out? But now, let me explain to you, right? 'Cause a lot of things come to my mind when I hear this, because y'all like the prison stories and they know how the law go and things like that. So I'm going to tell you things that these dudes don't know. They went to school to learn what they learned. I sat there and felt the pain of what I learned. I felt the pain of what I learned. I seen a dude come in, right? He gets his time. He finishes the one sentence. He got 2 sentences running consecutive. So he's in the state. He's serving the time in the state. Then he gets the federal charge. When they pick him up, he's serving 20 years in the state. Right? So while he's serving 20 years in the state, the feds pick him up and they bring him over to the feds with a habeas corpus. That's what they use to move your body in the feds, a habeas corpus. So they move him with a habeas corpus on over, right? Into the feds. He go to feds, he gets sentenced, and then he gets 20 years in the feds. And now he got 20 years in the state. So now the feds could say, I want you to do my time first before you do the state time. Now when they say they want him to do this federal time before the state time, what that's saying is that the time that you did in the state, once you was moved to the feds, follow me now, your time stopped. So if you got 18 months, give you 2 years. You got 2 years on your 20 years over here in the state. And then now they move you over to the feds. That time stops and the fed time begin. Now you do the 20 years in the feds. When you're done with the 20 years in the feds, then they send you back to the state, and now you got to do the 20 years there that they're going to honorably give you those 2 years time served credit because you served those before you went to the feds. You see how crazy this could get? So if any young person, old person want to get out there and tackle with the law, I'm not against the law. We need laws. Let's get that right. That's definitely not what I'm saying. I'm just painting a graphic picture so you could understand. I seen a dude, right? We riding. We're going to get back to Diddy in a minute. We ride. We're going to get back to Diddy in a minute. I seen a dude that had that same sentence, right? He had 20 years in the state, 20 years in the feds. They moved him from the state to the feds. Time stopped, went to the feds, did his 20 years. After 20 years is up, they tell him, yo, pack out. You're going to be going, you're being released tomorrow. So now he's saying he's going to be released tomorrow, but they meant from federal custody. And then the state is there waiting for him. He's thinking that he's going home to his family after serving 22 years in prison. The 2 years in the state and the 20 years he just served in the feds, a total of 22 years. And he said, man, I'm going home. I'm only 52. And they said, no, hold up. You got to give us another 18. You go home at 80. And he's like, huh, 80? Anybody want to challenge me on anything I say when it deals with the law in this prison, feel free. Matter of fact, my number's on the screen, 917-680-9091. I live this ish. So that means I know how this works. So don't even sit here and play those games. You know, I'm doing a video. I'll call you in a minute. All right? So that's where we at, so you understand. So imagine thinking you going home after 20 years in the state waiting on you. Say, oh, you got to give us 18 years after 20 years from back then. And you sitting there looking, where did this go? How did this happen? Welcome to the justice system. Don't blame the justice system. Blame yourself because you violated the law. I use all the excuses in the world when I got locked up. That's called mollifying. The feds taught me that in psychology courses and evaluations and stuff they did with me, right? So that's how they came with it. So once they came and they explained that to me, because I'm saying that now I was selling drugs because my mom's, ain't had no money. We was poor. My mother and father got divorced. My father didn't give my mother no money. And now my mother and my kids, and now I got kids. And I got all these mollifying excuses in the world. Instead of just claiming responsibility and saying, I screwed up. I made the wrong turn. I got off track. Now let me get my life back on track. I didn't say that till I was sitting in prison with life plus 20 before I said, I screwed up. Let me get my life on track. If I would have did it before I went to prison, I would have never caught a life sentence. Might have caught another couple of years, because I ain't saying I would have quit, but I would have slowed down on the big wheelie crap. You know, just keeping it 100, because we don't do no whaling over here, Unique Mecca Audio. But I'm just saying, you got to want to stop. But it starts a little bit at a time, the way you chip ice, chip down a mountain, little piece at a time. That's how you have to chip away your flaws, your temptations, your habits, your wrongdoing, your evil spirit, your evil thinking. One little chip at a time. And you get rid of it. Let's get back to Lisa Evans, because we ride.
He's held without bail. So this doesn't change the potential sentence, obviously, because it's still up to 10 years, but for the immediate gratification purposes of getting out, doing what he needs to do and fighting this from the outside in terms of preparing for that sentencing, now it's been stripped.
And let me just add, this morning the prosecution was very adamant about wanting to have this extra time to present their argument to the judge, and seemed obviously they were disappointed with the verdict. It was very visible and very obvious, but they wanted to keep him behind bars, and they said, Your Honor, we need several hours to really get this whole argument together for you, and that's pretty stunning.
But again, I think you have to go back to what the law is and what it allows for, and generally speaking, barring some exception, the Bail Reform Act says you're staying, you're not just getting released. He was convicted of a crime. I think people, rightfully so, are disappointed and have questions from the public's perspective when you have such a horrific allegation that is not proven or substantiated beyond a reasonable doubt. And summarily, we're not talking about on the cusp. That's a pretty quick verdict that I think fooled many people, thinking that there might have been a sex trafficking conviction. He's walking scot-free in terms of any allegation of coercion, force, fraud, violence. But he's still in custody.
Okay, so Jeremy, what about? Can we just ask Jeremy? Was it a difficult decision for the judge legally?
I think the judge is no. I think the judge is not finding any exception and following the law, and that's why he's staying there. The hope from the prosecution, though they didn't, the defense, though they didn't raise it specifically in their letter to the court, was that yes, there may be the Bail Reform Act, and that was what the prosecution relied on. Said statutorily, you can't just let him walk. The prosecution was hoping, the defense was hoping that the judge would look past that and say, he's returned, he just shows that he can follow the court order, he's not going to flee, and he's not a danger to anyone specifically or the community at large.
And then,
all right, bottom line, let me translate that so y'all understand, all right? Let's get the wheels of justice rolling here from a street point of view. Bottom line, what they saying is Diddy sat there, Diddy done got locked up, Diddy had this big horrendous bill, he had these crazy horrendous charges against him, the whole world said he was this big monster, and that's the picture that's painted of him as this big monster. I said from the beginning, let the process play out. If he's guilty, castrate him. If you're guilty of touching any little kid, violating a woman, I say castrate him. But they got laws for putting your hands on a woman that's called domestic violence. He wasn't charged with that, so he don't have that. Let's keep it moving so y'all fully understand. So they mad they couldn't get him on domestic violence. They mad they couldn't get him on that. They took him to the jury. They just knew that they had everything they wanted because it's overzealous and overconfident that they had this. But the more they put on, the more they woke up the people, the jurors, that it was more than what it looks like. Sometimes they say less is best. I see dudes make videos 7 minutes and kill them. Then I see dudes make videos an hour and kill them. You know what I mean? But less is best. How many 7-minute videos you could get? If you're going to kill them like you're the person doing an hour video now, you're making the money. You got to know how to add all that up in order to understand how to maneuver and capture this YouTube in a manner that it is. So you see people putting up a whole bunch of videos and they're putting up 4 or 5 videos a day. If each video get 2,000-3,000 views, you add all of them up. Now you're talking about 4 or 5 videos, talking about 15,000 views that you made. Wait for you to put up one video, you'd only got 2,500 views or 2,000 views. You see what I'm saying? But it all adds up, and now you're making it back. You don't put more in it. And I'm giving y'all too much, but just because Diddy could think like that, he was a threat. I was a threat. That's why they stripped me of my financial wealth. That's why Diddy is blessed right now, because he didn't get found guilty of RICO. That's what the family was cheering about. Y'all don't get it. The family, when the mother was cheering and blowing kisses and the son got convicted of 2 charges, the media yelling, looking at 20 years, knowing that they can't give him no more than 10, because whatever they give him, they're going to run it together concurrent that I just taught you in the beginning of this video. But moms were throwing kisses knowing that baby boy might go away for 10 years. But they got the bag. The government didn't get the bag. Moms is celebrating that they have their generational wealth and didn't get stripped, because if he would have been found guilty of that RICO, Bad Boy Entertainment would have been Rat Boys. Every rat in America would have been trying to get on that label, and internationally as well. You know? I mean, but it's just crazy. I make light of it just so you can see it, but it is what it is. That's why I say don't go out there and violate these laws, man. These laws have statutes and codes, and you need to know what they are when you're getting into certain things, because you know in your mind what's right and wrong. So if you think it might be against the law, don't do it. If you want to pursue doing it, go read the law books and see what it is. And then now you know that it's a crime, look up how much time it gives. Then ask yourself, would you be willing to do that time? I'm going to take you on a good ride, right? You know, when I stop, you know, I'm trying to find a polite way to put it, because I know I got a lot of new people coming there. They don't understand the gangster, right? I'm going to keep it 100. When I stop selling things in the prison that I wasn't supposed to be selling, right? That I knew was illegal. And they locked me up for my 3rd investigation. If they think you hustling, you doing your thing, they could just lock you up and put you in a hole and call it an investigation. And while you sit in the hole, they go through monitoring your phone calls, monitoring your email texts, monitoring the mail that came out, monitoring the money that was put on your books, and they do an investigation. I was on like 3, 4 of those, maybe 5 before I woke up. After the 5th one, I'm sitting in Lum Park, right? And I'm in there with Richard Pina, right? Big shout out to Richard Pina from New Orleans. All right, big shout out to Richard. All right, relax, y'all. Relax. Relax, man. Relax. Relax. Yo, check it out, right? Richard Pina, me and Richard Pina in a hole over in Lum Park, right? And Richard Pina told me something that I wound up using for the rest of my bid while we was in the hole in Lum Park. Those of y'all from New Orleans, Louisiana, and all that, y'all know what I'm talking about. Big shout out to 9 Milli. My man 9 Milli just dropped a new single, Crack. Straight crack. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I'm going to put it on my channel, but go look up 9 Milli. He out of D.C. This brother beat two bodies. You know what I mean? That means 2 unalive, one against a correction officer. You know what I mean? Because it was self-defense, but I'm not going to get into all that. But look him up so you understand. But he's still struggling. He stood strong. I don't care what nobody say about Diddy from this day forward, because Diddy took his like a man and went to trial. Nobody's talking about that. Everybody talk, oh, he's going to tell he's a square, he's a coward, he's a this, he's a that. Oh, you got all that money, he's not going to give the money. Diddy went all the way. Diddy could have sat there and cooperated with those people and brought in other names, like every name that they said on those freak-offs, even without a freak-off. If Diddy would have said that Leonardo DiCaprio, Justin Bieber, Usher, Cuba Gooding Jr., Kim Kardashian, and all of these other people that they said they possibly had freak-offs of, was at a freak-off, they all would have been on an indictment, and that's how it would have blew up. But Diddy stood there and took his like a man. And these are the same people that abandoned him when he went to jail. But you can't be mad at them, because the same thing, when I went to prison, I didn't try and call none of my homies on the phone on the street, because I know when they went to prison and they called, I wasn't answering no call knowing that you in the federal government's hands. I'm just keeping it 100. So all y'all want to talk about, oh, Jay-Z stood back, Jay-Z didn't say nothing. Where's everybody? It's only Kanye. Yo, my dog, you know who got him? That's the feds. Where do I want to stick my nose in his business right now? When the smoke clear, whatever he need, I got him. But right now, I'm going to do me and eat. And that's what Jay was doing when everybody's sitting, Jay wrong, Jay this, where's all his friends? And my man, Carlucci, big shout, and round of applause to Lucci for being so loyal to Diddy, man. Big shout out to him. All Relax, y'all. Check it out. Big shout out to Carlucci. Reason why I say big shout out to Carlucci is because he had a shirt that he got, and I wore the shirt, and I'm gonna wear it on my next show. Cause I still got another brand new one. He gave me a shirt that said, "Everybody want to come to the party, but nobody want to come to court." Did you hear that? Everybody want to come to the party, but nobody want to come to court. I was doing illegal things, breaking the law. If Jay-Z and Caprio and all of these people that I just named, Gooden and Usher and Bieber and all that, if they wasn't involved in no freak off or none of that, and they was clean from that, they should have been there to support him in that courtroom. Because they law tax-paying citizens and don't have any blemishes. But when I'm out there still slinging drugs and my man calling me because he got locked up, I'm not going to answer the phone when I'm sitting in a house with 40 keys of cocaine. Got 4 pots on the stove and I'm cooking and I got all this going on, money machine over here. Everything says life in prison around me. And my man from prison called me, I'm not answering. But if I'm in Jay-Z with my chiclatas and I'm chilling on the beach in the south of France, and my man called me while I'm in prison, I'm going to answer. And tell him, y'all, tell somebody come pick up the bag. Because you know we can't do a wire transfer, but I got $10 million for you to help you with your legal fees. We talking about a man, talking about Jay-Z, I'm just giving an example, that got $1 billion. I was going to, let me ride. My man Bootsy over at Street Knowledge Podcast, go check him out, right? When he got locked up, his bail was $1 million and I was going to go bail him out for $1 million, but then I got locked up. So why wouldn't Jay-Z put up $10 million towards Diddy's legal fees? Not saying he did anything wrong for you rat bastards. The moral of the story is that even if you don't go, you make sure that you send your support in the form of support. You know what I mean? Which is the form of finances. Because you already know it gets heavy. And then you're going to sit there and you rat bastards that just look for anything to say, but Diddy got $1 billion. You don't need 10 million. It ain't about the money. It's about him showing his support. Diddy will wipe his with $10 million. Jay-Z will wipe his with $10 million. But it's just the point to say, I'm here, dog, but you know I got to stay in the cut because I ain't trying to get none of that shrapnel on me. They firing buckshots. You know what I mean? So ain't no one bullet coming out, like 10, 12 little shells coming at you, you got to duck. You see where I'm at? Am I making any sense? Let me finish playing this, man.
Let me ask you this, in terms of the appealing this decision, what's the process now that the defense will have to go through in order to appeal the judge's decision of no bail?
I would expect that he's not going anywhere anytime soon, appeal or not. I think that they're going to follow the judge. You know, I haven't heard what the judge said, so it's hard for me to just speak on an island here. But based on the law as we know it, I think the judge has ample ground to stand on and make this decision.
Let me answer that. Our Sharon Crowley has been watching this and telling us right now the judge says that the government was correct that the detention is mandatory for a Mann Act conviction, right, what you're indicating, and the judge said that the limited exception to mandatory detention was not met. Sean Combs pointed to his duties as a father and a son, which we talked about, but that does not rise to the level of an appropriate exception, according to the judge.
Right, and to my point moments ago, that's what the law is. But we like to think that from the outside looking in, when someone has been charged with such egregious and horrible acts and a jury of your peers says no so quickly, there should be a means to say you should be free, but there still is a conviction. The Mann Act qualifies. He's in custody. Whether that's a sign of the judge saying I'm going to harshly sentence him or not, we can't say, but let's not read into it. The judge is simply following the law, and this warrant does not warrant that 10 years that you're hearing about for each of the counts for Jane
and then Jeremy, remind us again about the Mann Act.
So the Mann Act does not involve coercion or force or anything like that. The Mann Act simply says that if you're bringing someone across state lines in substance, engaging in prostitution, that violates the law. You know, I look at this case, not to really go too far off, this really, especially when you hear this verdict, should likely never have been in that courthouse. If anything, it should have been in that courthouse, meaning 100 Center Street or something similar, in a state courthouse for domestic violence,
exactly,
abuse, for things that physical abuse and assaultive behavior, those types of things. But now we're here, it is what it is, but I think the prosecution really got humbled whether or not the judge is keeping Sean Combs in.
No, 100%. So now tonight he'll be spending the night in MDC.
It's hotter better in there than it is out here, certainly for him. But there is now a horizon. That sun is rising for him. There is an out, and I'd like to think, based on the evidence and based on the finding of that jury, that out will be reasonable. And the defense said maybe 20 to 24 months. The prosecution is saying at least 50 to 60 months, even more. Where the judge falls, I don't know. But there's freedom for a guy who's looking at life in prison, which is unbelievable, whether he's in jail tonight or not.
And you told us.
Did you hear that? They talking about 24 months. I did 60 months in solitary confinement in ADX Supermax Florence Underground with 23 hours a day locked in a cell and 1 hour a day to come out, and that was only 5 days a week. The weekends and holidays, I didn't come out the cell. If something happened in the main USP at Florence, then they locked us down over at ADX too, and we don't know what's happening because we locked in our cell. So I spent so much time in solitary confinement. It's a wonder I didn't lose my mind. But I know I had to move forward to bring y'all this message to relax, man. Stop breaking these laws. It's not worth it. They have statutes you don't know about. I didn't know nothing about a conspiracy statute. They told me that if somebody, listen, I'm gonna tell you what conspiracy is, right? We're gonna take a ride with conspiracy. Conspiracy is what they call a thought crime. Imagine this, right? Oh, big shout out to super producer Rico. You know what I mean? Rico Anderson. Big shout out to Rico Anderson. All right. Now, where's that at? See, my mind be all over the place, but I be going. Where was I at? I ain't got nobody tell me where I'm at. What would I say last? Should I run this back? You know what I mean? Yeah, we talking about conspiracy. Yeah. Conspiracy is what they call a thought crime. Conspiracy is a thought crime. I'm going to show it is. If me and you is talking and I'm talking about robbing a bank, and then you go to the police and you tell somebody that I came to you and said that I wanted to rob a bank, they could lock me up and charge me with conspiracy, and you be the government's witness or state witness against me, all because I had the thought to rob a bank and I shared it with you, the rat bastard, and you went and told on me. Is this crazy? Now, y'all put in the comments if y'all believe it or not. Let's go. Let's keep this moving. Just remember, I only speak facts up here. Conspiracy is a thought crime. You ask anybody that's been in prison, they'll tell you. I've seen them use conspiracy in some of the weirdest, loosest, craziest, acrobatic ways that I never thought possible. That's why when I sit here and I talk on YouTube and I give you 4 or 5 different scenarios to one situation, and you was only looking at it one way or maybe 2 ways, and then here I go dropping 3 ways on you, and you saying, whoa, I got to tune into this dude. Make sure if you subscribe to hit the notification bell, please. If you not subscribe, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. And the like button is a must. All right? Let's get back to this. But yeah, conspiracy is a thought crime. You see how y'all learn things over here?
Said there's no minimum with the conviction, the prostitution conviction.
Correct, but there are guidelines, and the judges generally follow those guidelines. There's the ability to move along them and go up or down. But I think we have to look at what the evidence is and remember that the prosecution can still bring out in sentencing, though you could not do that in a state court, all of his other allegations and the evidence there that was not supported by the jurors who said not guilty, because it's not proof beyond a reasonable doubt. It's sentencing. It's not the same standard.
Right.
But do I think he's going to get 10 years? We've been wrong before. No, I do not. There is an out for him.
All right.
Big
we'll
out.
Continue watching this closely, and so that's it.
That's it for now. That's it for today.
Yeah, just to sum up, this has been a day of news on the Sean Diddy Combs case. First, the jury came back and rendered a not guilty verdict on the heavier charges of the indictment. And then there was this talk about whether or not he would be walking out of here. There were a lot of reasons why some people thought that that might actually be the case. But at this point, we've just learned that the judge has denied the application for bail, which means instead of walking out a free man today, Sean Combs will have to wait. And the judge noted, we're told right now by Sharon Crowley, that one of the incidents of violence violence against a former girlfriend was in June of 2024, after Sean Combs knew that he perhaps was illegal. Right. So there are things in the bag, so to speak, that the judge is taking into consideration, that as people out on the street, maybe we were slower to get to, but the judge has made his decision. Sean Combs will not be seen on camera outside the courthouse today, at least not as a somewhat free man on bail. That's the latest from here at the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan. We go back to you guys.
All right, so that's where it's at, so you understand. Been here long enough, 34 minutes, y'all got enough jewels for the day. Diddy was denied bail, but what I was getting at before is that they contemplated taking, Diddy offered a $48 million bail the first time package, and then he come back, and this time if he beat the charge, he only offered $1 million. Do you think the government think that was a slap in the face, and that's why even the judge said, hold up, how am I going to get my cut out of $1 million? I'm just saying, just making fun. None of this is true. We're just making content. So y'all enjoy yourself. 4th of July coming up. Don't drink too much. Don't drive when you're drunk. Man, follow the rules, man. That's it.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime. Fresh out the can of 26, yeah. He back on the strip, getting back in the mix. Yeah. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Real. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a raw in Uptown. Baby horn Uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend an ear. He started in Uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours, so we can give back to the. Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, the crime, the crime.